Fear Not, episode 136. Hi, I'm Billy Atwell, and I believe that consistently facing your fears is the only way to realize your truest self and to make those confident choices that will help you to obtain your deepest held hopes and dreams. I have faith that this podcast series will show you that you are not alone, that it will strengthen you and give you courage to face your fears, and that it will help you to permanently cross over into a life of living beyond your fears. Join me on this journey as we listen and learn from others as they share their experiences in facing and overcoming their own fears. Hello, everybody. Today, you and I are going to be joined by jmann. Welcome, Jen. How are you today?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty all right myself, thank you. Are you ready to fear not today?
I'm going to try, yes.
jmann is best known for her wildly popular and hysterical blog, People I Want to Punch in the Throat. She's been described by many as Irma Bombeck, but with F-bombs. She's known for hilarious rants and funny observations on everything from parenting to gift-giving, to celebrity behavior, to politics, to elves on shelves. She does not suffer fools lightly. Jen is the author of the New York Times bestseller, People I Want to Punch in the Throat, Competitive Crafters, Drop-Off Despots, and Other Suburban Scourges, which was a finalist for a Goodreads Reader's Choice Award. Her latest book is My Lame Life, Queen of the Misfits, her first fiction book for young adults. She's also the mastermind behind the New York Times bestseller I Just Want to Pee Alone series. Jen, can you take a few extra moments to fill in those gaps and maybe give us a brief glimpse of your personal life as well?
Sure. I live in Kansas City, and I am a wife and a mom and a card-carrying member of the PTA, and I've just been writing since 2011. I started blogging first, and then I turned that into books and started writing books, People I Want to Punch in the Throat books. I've got several of those. And then the I Just Want to Pee Alone series. And over the years, of course, my kids have grown up, and now they're 10 and 12, and they ask that I don't write about them as much anymore. So last year, my daughter asked me to write a book that she could read. I don't usually let my kids read the People I Want to Punch in the Throat stuff. I'm a bit of a cusser, and believe it or not, I don't do that in front of my kids, and I didn't want them to be like exposed to that when they were 6 or whatever. And so last year when she asked me to write a book for her, I thought, oh, yeah, I could do that. I could try that. And so that's where My Lame Life came from. Just a book about kind of a girl who's maybe not quite, she doesn't quite fit in just right, and she's not sure what to do, but how to fit in and still maintain being true to yourself and finding your own tribe of misfits, basically.
Jen, would you also share with us today one of the biggest fears that you've had to face?
Well, yeah, I think the biggest fear that I face, and I think most writers feel this way, at least I hope they do, that I'm not alone, is I think I feel a fear every time I hit publish. You know, every time I put my opinions out there, I have a fear of rejection and maybe being wrong or being on the wrong side of something. Because I started in blogging, a lot of what I write was opinion, and it was my opinion of how I felt about things, and I grew a really large audience of people gravitating towards me because they agreed with me, but there were also people who didn't agree with me, and some of them disagreed with me politely and, you know, gave their arguments, but other people just would attack you and tell you that you're wrong. And I think it gets, over the years I've developed a thicker skin, but at the beginning it was really hard to sort of hit publish, and it was really hard to hit publish on that first book. My very first book, Spending the Holidays with People I Want to Punch in the Throat. I self-published it. I didn't have an agent. I didn't have an editor. I didn't have a publisher. And so I learned how to self-publish. My husband and I learned how to self-publish, and we made all kinds of mistakes as we went along, and we fixed things. But it was really nerve-wracking to hit that out there and put that out in the world and say, I hope you like this. I hope you buy it. Because I think that was the other thing for me. There's kind of that threshold where I'd been giving away blog posts for free, and I kept thinking, well, if you don't like it, if you disagree with me, what do you care? It didn't cost you anything. It was free. And then now I'm putting this out there, and I'm saying, no, please pay me for this. Please pay me for my opinions and for my stories. And I think that was really nerve-wracking. And even now that I've got, I don't even know how many books it is now that I've hit publish on, it still is nerve-wracking, and I have a little twinge of fear every single time that, maybe no one will like this one. Maybe no one will want this one. So
So, what do you do when that fear does come your way to sort of get past it? Because I'm assuming you get past it.
I do get past it. I think it's, like I said, over the years, I've kind of built up, my confidence has definitely built up over the years in my abilities, and thinking like, no, there's enough people that agree with me. Keeping in touch with my tribe, my online community is amazing, and they're super supportive. And so whenever I start to have those doubts kind of creep in, I interact with them and I talk to them, or I go back and I read old emails or reviews. I'm probably the one author in the world who loves to read reviews. I read all my reviews, and the good, the bad, and the ugly. And the good ones, make me feel great and make me feel like I'm doing the right thing, that I'm on the right path. I love to hear people say things like, I needed to laugh today, and you got me through the day. I needed to hear that. Thank you so much for sharing. I was thinking that, but I couldn't say it. I was afraid to say it. And so I love to hear that, Jen gets me, Jen understands me. And then the negative ones I like too, because those help me grow. They help me understand maybe where I'm missing, where I'm not connecting, where I have a disconnect. I mean, I'm not always right, and I know I'm not always right. And so the bad reviews help me understand maybe where I went a little wrong, or help me understand the other side of an argument, or help me understand sort of somebody else's story. And it helps me grow as a writer and grow even as a person, as I'm going through my life. And so then I just like to keep in touch with my audience. I'm on social media all day long when I'm not, I check in all day long while I'm working, and I just like to touch base with everybody and see how everybody's doing. They've become my friends. They've become my life support. And then within that, I have my own tribe of fellow writers and bloggers who I also talk to all the time, and we sort of keep each other going and inspiring each other and supporting each other. And then, of course, my family, my husband and my kids are the other reasons that they definitely keep me going and help me whenever I start to feel afraid or down or something like that. They're right there to help me and push me through.
Jen, have you come across any books that have helped you to deal with fear or to help build your self-confidence that you might be able to share with us today?
Some books that I really like. I'm a big fan of J.K. Rowling. She wrote Harry Potter. In case there's like one person out there who doesn't know who she is, or there was a book, the name has just escaped me. Of course, she gave a speech. She gave a commencement speech, and then they turned it into a book, and it was all about failure and about how you need to fail in order to move forward. And I really like that book, and that was kind of what I needed. You get a lot of like inspirational stuff throughout the day. Like you can go out there and find all kinds of, just go do it, just put your head down and work hard, but you are surrounded by success all the time because people only show you their successes, and especially on social media and in the writing world, we only celebrate our successes. And when I read that book and read her speech, and it talked about how hard she had worked to get to her success and how many times she had to fail at things, it really made me realize that you can learn so much from failure, and you need to fail. And I look at my kids, like we're always kind of buffering our kids from failure, and we're kind of like, oh, don't do that because it might not work for you or whatever. And now I'm sort of pushing my kids out there, and I'm like, yeah, go fail and learn. Someone was just telling me last week that I guess Google, I don't know if this is true or not, but Google has a whole department that all they do is fail so that they can learn new things that they can apply to their business. And I think for me, especially since I'm a hybrid publisher, I publish myself and I'm traditionally published with Random House, it's like, I'm constantly learning new things to fail at, to try to improve my craft and improve sales and marketing and that sort of thing. And so for me, I always look to JK when I'm afraid. She's always got really good advice.
Are you ready for the speed round?
I think so. I hope so. Yeah.
What individual, whether they be fiction or real, has made the most impact on your life?
My husband. Without him, I would not be doing anything. I would not be writing for sure. I don't know what I would be doing, but I wouldn't be writing. On our first date, I told him I wanted to be a writer, and he was the first person who didn't laugh and say, yeah, good luck with that dream. He just nodded and said, okay, I see that. And then when the opportunity arose in 2011, he was the one who basically pushed me. He helped me overcome that fear. I'd gone viral overnight. I was terrified that nothing I wrote after that would be any good, would be as good. And he said, no, you're right. It probably won't, but it doesn't matter. You have all these people who want to hear from you. Go write. You want to be a writer? Write. Entertain them. And he's constantly helping me like that.
If you could instantly change one thing in the world, what would you change?
Isn't this where you're supposed to say, like, world peace and stuff? I think that I would change, like, oh gosh, like the way that we treat one another. I feel like we don't respect other people's differences enough. And, you know, there's that whole thing about you're a snowflake and you want everyone to revolve around you. And I don't think it's like that at all. It's like you need to understand where they're coming from and understand everybody's story and figure out how you and that person can get along and find common ground. And I think we don't do that enough. We just instantly say, they're not like me, I don't want to be around that person or deal with that person. And so I wish we could have better communication with one another.
What's your biggest weakness?
My biggest weakness would be procrastination. I like to I give myself a month to get something done, but then I really get it done in the last 2 days, and I piddle around until then. And so I would like to fix that.
What's your biggest strength?
My biggest strength, I think, is my ability to get stuff done. I wait till the last minute, but it gets done. I've never missed a deadline. I've never not turned something in on time and gotten books published when they're supposed to be or blog posts published when they're supposed to be. I respond to emails. I take it very seriously what I'm doing. And if you want something done, you come to me and you get it done.
If you could only have one book to read, what's that book going to be?
I'm gonna say Harry Potter. I got to go back to J.K. That book was amazing. It opened my eyes to that YA literature and children's literature could be interesting for all ages, and the magic and the world that she created was amazing.
Do you have a favorite sound?
The sound of everybody laughing at my jokes.
And Jen, if someone would like to connect with you, what's the best way for them to do that?
The best way is to go to my blog, which is peopleiwantopunchinthethroat.com, and you can find all the different ways, whatever your social media preference is. I'm on all the channels. Just find me there.
And what parting advice would you like to leave with us today?
Parting advice I'd like to leave with you today is just overcome that fear, push through that fear. I think fear can be so crippling to everyone, and we can all worry about how it's going to end and what's going to happen, and it kind of goes back to what I was talking about with failure. I think for me, the fear of failure is kind of always there, and I think that's for a lot of people. And you're definitely going to fail if you don't try. So push through that fear and just try to do whatever it is you're trying to do. And if you fail, learn from that failure, get back up and push through the fear again and try again.
Excellent advice, and thank you so much for sharing that. And I want to let everyone know, too, that Jen has generously donated a copy of her book, My Lame Life. So if you would like an opportunity to win that book, visit the giveaways page at livingbeyondyourfears.com and submit your friend form today. Jen, I want to thank you so much for coming on the show. And I mean, not only just being upbeat about with your story and how you deal with things, but just with your time and just sharing with us today.
Well, I appreciate you having me. It was a really good time. Thank you.
Thank you for joining me today. And remember, you cannot achieve everything, but you do have the God-given ability to achieve anything. So stay focused, out of fear, and keep on keeping on. Until next time, be well and peaceful. For more information on today's episode and guest, or for resources that will assist you in overcoming your fears, visit livingbeyondyourfears.com. And don't forget to subscribe to this podcast, where 3 times a week we move to a life beyond our fears.